What if this job you are holding on to right now is the very thing keeping you small? You pray for more. You ask God for increase. Yet every morning, you give your hours to someone else's vision. There is a kind of woman described in the Bible who did not wait for a job offer. She did not wait for permission. She built, she traded, she planted, she sold. The Bible has a name for her, a virtuous woman. Today, I am sharing 7 business ideas drawn directly from Scripture. These are not trends. They are not hype. They reflect God's original design for the woman who provides. Stay with me, because this message could shift the direction of your entire season. This is for the woman who checks her bank account again before payday. This is for the woman who is gifted but unseen, underpaid, and overworked. This is for the woman who feels guilty for wanting more because she was taught that desiring more is a sign of greed. This is for the woman who lies awake at night doing calculations in her head and wondering if there is another way. This is for the woman who has applied for job after job and received no response, or has been told she is overqualified for a position offering a salary that barely covers the rent. This is for the woman who loves God deeply but is tired of praying for a breakthrough while doing nothing different with her hands. This is for the woman who carries a gift within her but has never tried to earn an income from it because no one told her she was allowed to. This is for the woman who has started over in her mind countless times, written business names in the Notes app on her phone, watched messages like this before, but never found the courage to begin. This is for the woman who feels as though she must choose between security and purpose, as though she cannot have both, and wanting both somehow makes her difficult or ungrateful. This is for the woman who appears fine on the outside. She smiles in pictures and shows up every day, yet carries a quiet exhaustion no one else can see. She is not lazy. She is not ungrateful. She is simply tired of surviving instead of living. This is for the woman who has watched her own potential from a distance, as though it belonged to someone else, as though it were a stranger she once knew. She remembers being told that she was capable of anything. She simply does not know where that version of herself went. There is another way. It is older than every job application you have ever completed. It was written before resumes, interviews, and offer letters existed. It was placed in Scripture for women just like you. Long before professional networking platforms and online job boards, God had already revealed a pattern for how women could provide. Here is what I need you to understand. Employment is not evil, but it was never intended to be your only door. Before there was a job market, there was a marketplace. Genesis 1 tells us that God created both man and woman in His image. One of the first things He gave them was dominion, not a salary, but dominion. You were not created merely to wait for an opening. You were created to cultivate, build, and create. We have been taught that security means receiving a steady paycheck, and that ambition is the same as greed. But Scripture tells a different story. It tells us about women who built, sold, planted, led, and were celebrated for doing so. A job can be a gift, but it was never meant to be your only source. It can be one stream, but it does not have to be your entire river. Think about the women in the Bible. Lydia sold purple cloth. Scripture describes her as a dealer in purple fabric, a businesswoman. Her home later became a meeting place for the early church. Her trade helped support her purpose. The widow had very little, only a jar of oil. She obeyed a simple instruction and began pouring. The oil multiplied until every available vessel was full. Deborah judged a nation. She did not wait to be chosen by a human system. She walked in the authority she already carried. Ruth gleaned in the fields. She did not sit still, waiting for help to fall into her lap. She worked with what was available to her, and her diligence was noticed. Her faithfulness opened the door to an entirely new season of her life. These women were not waiting for someone to call them back. They were not constantly refreshing an inbox, hoping someone would finally recognize their worth. They looked at what was already in their hands and asked one simple question: what can this become? Maybe you have never asked yourself that question. Maybe no one ever gave you permission to ask it. You have permission now. What is in your hands? Is it a skill, a recipe, a talent, a story, or something small that has been quietly waiting for you to notice it. Maybe it is something you already do for other people without charging. Maybe it is something people regularly come to you for, a gift so familiar to you that you have forgotten how rare it is. That same question is waiting for you. It is not loud, it will not shout, it will simply wait patiently until you are ready to listen. Let me tell you about a woman who worked in an office for 6 years. Every day brought the same desk, the same chair, and the same quiet ache. She loved God and prayed every morning before going to work. But by 10 o'clock, she already felt exhausted in her spirit. She earned just enough to get by, enough for rent and transportation, but never enough to breathe. She watched other women share pictures of new businesses, new offices, and newfound freedom. Then she would close the app and return to writing reports for a supervisor who barely knew her name. At night, she asked herself quiet questions. Is this all there is? Did I miss something? Why does everyone else seem to be moving forward while I am still here? She did not tell anyone how she felt. She smiled at work and served faithfully at church. But beneath the surface, she felt invisible. She did not hate her job. Deep down, she simply knew that her job did not represent everything she carried within her. On some weekends, she would scroll past pictures of other women opening stores, signing leases, and shipping orders. She would quietly close the app, swallow the ache, and return to her to-do list. She never said it aloud, but she wondered whether she had missed her moment. Maybe those other women possessed something she did not. There had been a season when she tried to start something. She had a small idea and a little money saved, but fear became loud. So she put the idea away and told herself, maybe later, maybe when I have more. But later kept turning into another later, and the ache remained exactly where it was. She clearly remembered one particular evening. She was sitting on her bed, still wearing her work clothes, too tired to change and too restless to sleep. She scrolled through old notes on her phone, ideas she had written down over the years. Every idea had been abandoned halfway through, and each one felt like a small grief she carried in silence. That night she whispered a short prayer. It was not dramatic or loud, it was simply honest. God, show me what to do with what I have. She did not hear thunder. She did not see a sign in the sky. She simply felt a small, quiet prompting to keep watching and keep listening. One Sunday, her pastor read Proverbs 31:16. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She had read that chapter many times, but on that day, something reached her differently. The woman in that passage was not waiting for a job. She was working with her hands. She was trading, selling, planting, and building, and the Bible called her excellent. That evening, the woman went home and wrote one sentence in her journal. Maybe I am not behind. Maybe I have simply been looking in the wrong direction. That sentence changed everything. She did not quit her job the next day. She simply began, small, quiet, and faithful. She started with what was already in her hands, a skill she had ignored for years, $40 she had saved, and a small idea she had been too afraid to try. During the first week, she made almost nothing. In the second week, she made a little more. She did not stop. Some nights, she still doubted herself. Some nights, she wondered whether anyone would ever notice what she was creating. But she continued to show up quietly and faithfully, taking one small step at a time. An idea became income. Income became confidence. Confidence became freedom. 1 year later, she was no longer surviving on a single paycheck. She had developed a second stream of income and then a third, not because she was lucky, but because she finally began. She still remembers the night she nearly gave up. She was 3 weeks into the process and had made very few sales. She sat staring at her small amount of savings, wondering whether she had made a mistake. Then she remembered the sentence she had written. Maybe I have simply been looking in the wrong direction. She kept going, and the breakthrough came shortly afterward, just beyond the moment when she had almost surrendered. Looking back, she says the hardest part was never the work. It was waiting for the work to begin producing fruit. But every season of quiet planting leads somewhere. It always does. Now let us talk about what this woman discovered. the same lessons I want to place in your hands today. These are not modern ideas built around hustle culture. These are patterns God placed in Scripture for women long before entrepreneur was even a word. The first is the trader. Proverbs 31:18 says, "She sees that her trading is profitable." This woman bought and sold goods. She understood value. She recognized what people needed and supplied it. Today, this could look like reselling, importing, thrift sourcing, or finding products people want and making them available. You can begin with $50 or perhaps $100. You do not need a factory. You need an eye for value and the courage to start small. The second is the seamstress. Exodus 35:25 says, "Every skilled woman spun with her hands." These skilled women used their hands to help build the tabernacle through spinning, weaving, sewing, and designing. If you know how to sew, design, or style, do not dismiss it as an insignificant hobby. It is a valuable skill with a pattern in Scripture behind it. One client paying you $80 for a single piece could become a steady stream of orders. The third is the vineyard planter. Proverbs 31:16 says, "Out of her earnings she plants a vineyard." She did not wait for capital to fall from the sky. She used what she had to plant something that could grow. Today, this may look like farming, agriculture, food production, or anything else that begins small and increases through patience. Seeds today, a harvest later. What appears slow in the beginning could help feed your entire household after a few seasons. The fourth is the woman of hospitality. Proverbs 31:20 says, "She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy." This woman fed and served people. She gave generously, but she clearly had resources from which to give. This could look like catering, baking, meal preparation, or running a small restaurant. Feeding people is not merely a service. It can also be a ministry that generates income. Some women have built entire businesses from one kitchen, one recipe, and one loyal customer who told two friends. The fifth is the wise counselor. Proverbs 31:26 says, "She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue." This woman taught. She spoke with understanding, and others could receive guidance from her wisdom. If you have valuable knowledge or a life story that has shaped you, coaching, teaching, consulting, and mentoring can become a business. Your knowledge has value. One conversation, properly structured and offered, can be worth more than a full day spent at a job you have outgrown. The sixth is the craftswoman. In Exodus 31, God filled Bezalel with wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and skill to create artistic designs. Creativity is not treated as a luxury in Scripture. It is a gift intentionally placed within people. Jewelry, candles, soap, artwork, home decor, and handmade goods can all become sources of income. If your hands can create something beautiful, it is not merely art. It may be provision waiting to be packaged. A craft that takes 1 hour to make may sell for far more than what you earn for 1 hour at a job you have outgrown. The seventh is the household manager. Proverbs 31:27 says, "She watches over the affairs of her household." This woman managed, organized, planned, and brought order. Today, this could look like event planning, professional organizing, virtual assistance, or managing another person's chaos for a fee. If you can bring peace to disorder, you possess a skill people will pay for, and sometimes pay very well for, because true order is rare. Notice something about all 7 examples. None of them began with everything. They started with what was close to them: a skill, a trade, a field, a craft, a home, or a voice. They did not need thousands of dollars to begin. Some could begin with less than $100. Others could begin with nothing more than a skill and a willing heart. You may already carry more than one of these gifts. A woman who sews can also sell. A woman who cooks can also teach. A woman who organizes can also plant and cultivate something of her own. These ideas were never meant to place you inside a box. They were meant to reveal a door you may not have realized was already unlocked. God rarely asks you to wait until you have more. He asks you to use what you already hold. Now hear me clearly. You are not behind. You were looking for permission from the job market when permission had already been written in Scripture. You are not too old to begin. You are not unqualified. You are not too late. The Proverbs 31 woman was not famous before she started. She simply began with what was in her hands. God is not waiting for you to possess everything. He is waiting for you to use something. You are not forgotten. You are not permanently stuck. You are being positioned. Maybe you cannot see the entire picture right now. Maybe you only have one idea, one skill, or one quiet prompting. That is enough. That is where every woman of purpose begins. Maybe you only have $20 right now. Maybe you only have 1 hour available after work. That is still a beginning. God has never required a willing heart to begin with much. He simply asks you to start with what you have. So, sister, this is what I want you to carry with you today. Employment was never meant to be your ceiling. It may only be one season or one part of your journey. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a starting point. Choose one idea from this list, the one that quietly excites you, the one your spirit keeps returning to. Then begin small. Begin faithfully. Begin consistently. Begin like the woman who prayed, God, show me what to do with what I have. Begin like the woman described in Proverbs 31. Begin as the woman you were always meant to become. If this message spoke to you, subscribe for more gentle, faith-rooted encouragement for women who are building, healing, and becoming. You are not too late. You are right on time.